So we are studying how to discover freedom, happiness, and wisdom in our life. That helps us in our personal life, professional life, social life, and at every moment in our life. So, the last two talks and the practices, we focused on the first sutra. Do you remember why the sutra is written, how it is compressed? We need to open it up and to relate it to our day to day life. So, today is our second sutra from this great master. So, who says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, four words. Literal meaning is emptying the mind of its content leads to the highest meditative state. But before we go into that, let us open this. Last time we understood yoga is the highest state of meditation, and that takes place in the mind, and the mind lives in five subjective states. Do you remember? Do you remember a metaphor? Then I explained that Arizona is US because I live in Arizona. So that's a good example. But USA is not Arizona. You have to think over it. So it means there are many subjective states of the mind that cannot be yoga. Means what? Mind lives in five subjective states, out of which only the two subjective states we we can achieve huh? Yoga. What is yoga? Yoga is the highest state of mindfulness. That is what we have done. So now we are yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So let us take the word vritti. Vritti means thought patterns, means behavior, means attitude, means reaction, means response. Normally, we say it is all modifications of the mind. Why we say modification of the mind? The mind is modified. I see, David, my mind is modified of the shape of a David, of the shape of a Daniel, of the shape of a Stephen. That is why we say, oh, here is David, here is Stephen, means it is a thought. The mind is modified. Mind is the cause of the problem, and mind is the cause of a solution. So, what I was talking is relevant today. The knowledge and the practice should go together because mind takes the shape of what it thinks, perceives, desires, reacts. One day, long back, I remember my master told me, do you love me? Yes. Do you respect me? Yes. But if I become crazy, then what will happen to your mind? He said, I will also become crazy. That is not the way to be a seeker. What it means. A beautiful message. What is the message? That once you have accepted a teacher whom you love and adore, keep that image in your mind, even if the outer teacher becomes the crazy, because that will help you. Leave that teacher, but keep that image. Why? I'm selfish. I want to evolve. I have nothing to do with other. You see the modification of the mind. It takes long time to reach to that state. So, solution when the mind, what is the solution? This sutra says when the mind is empty. When the mind is empty, then it reflects our true nature. Mind by default is habitual, instinctive, impulsive. So I have to get rid of it. How to get rid of it? First, knowledge, understanding, and then practice. Now ask yourself who can take over the mind that is impulsive, habitual, and instinctive? Just think of it. It is the intellect. So I have to contemplate and reflect. What intellect does? I'm answering, this journey is a synopsis. In 1 hour, we cannot cover everything. So just give you a synopsis. You all are wise and intelligent, so you need to think over it. So who can take over the mind? Intellect. What intellect does? Contemplate, think, and reflect. What happens when you contemplate, reflect, and think? You are able to separate the instinctive, habitual, reactive thoughts from the mind. If you do not think, it will not happen at all. So, when you are separate, then what happens? That is what is known as discernment and viveka. That is the great principle. So, what makes it firm? Now you have understood that these thoughts are not required. But then, how the mind will realize? By practice. So, one is knowledge, the second is the practice. Do you practice with or without knowledge? No. Without knowledge, mind returns to the old knowledge, old habit. Without practice, mind enjoys its habitual way. If you don't do the practice, the mind will respond to its habitual, instinctive, and reactive way. Are you understanding that? Are you getting that? Now, in the previous sutra, Patanjali is saying that out of the 5 subjective states, only 2 subjective states helps you to succeed in meditation. The 3 subjective states will take you to the world of the desire, of the reaction, of the anxiety, of the stress. Only the first 3 subjective states causes you the stress. You remove those 3 states, there is no stress in life. There is no suffering. That is the beauty of learning these sutras. Now understand emptiness. Emptiness. So this sutra, yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. Yoga, we have understood from the first sutra, it is the highest state of meditation. Chitta, chitta means the mind that lives in 5 subjective states. Vritti, attitude, thought pattern, group of thoughts, millions of thoughts. And nirodha, nirodha means empty. So, what is the meaning of this sutra? Emptying the mind of its content is the highest state of empty. So, the Vyasa, the commentator, says not all the contents to be emptied. You cannot make the mind empty of its natural content. What is natural content? Can you think of it? Peace, happiness, love, wisdom. So it means he's pointing out we have to get rid of those contents of the mind which are not desired, which are not required, and that causes the stress, suffering in our day to day life. Are you getting it? So I need not to work hard for my peace, happiness, freedom, and wisdom. It is already there in the mind. It is overshadowed. It is veiled by vritti, by modifications, by certain thought pattern which created a wrong notion in my mind. So first I get the knowledge through the intellect. Daniel has started a good topic, so I'm repeating it again. So I must filter out. I must understand. You are crazy. If I say you guys, you are crazy. Now question is, what happens to my mind before I say that you are crazy? It is covering my freedom. It is veiling my peace. So should I say it or not? Choice is with us. But why I say you are crazy? Because you do not fulfill my expectation. The way I believe you are good, you are not behaving in that way. But what I have to do, whether you behave in a particular way or you behave in a way, that is your choice. That is your freedom. Why I should be attached? Do you see that? So that attachment creates the ripples, the thought waves, the thought pattern. That causes the problem. So Master says, Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. What it means, empty the mind of its content. We always rush when the mind says, oh, that guy is crazy. That guy is like this. I want to blame. I fire. And then I repent. So a seeker knows I have not to harm my mind. I have not to make my mind crazy. I should work on the mind. The mind should not work on me. Are you getting it? That is the meaning of this sutra. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Are you getting it? Do you remember the five states? Wandering mind. Second is sleeping mind, lethargic mind. Third is obsessed mind. Fourth is seeker's mind, that is one pointedness. So keep in your mind what it means by one pointedness will be covered in the future sutras. It is not concentration. Then the fifth is the empty state of the mind. What we studied in the very first talk, that there is a natural state of the mind. That natural state of the mind is disturbed, veiled by these thought patterns. What are those thought patterns? Again, think it. I like you. That is one option, because you are what is right and good. That is why I like you. So, what is the liking? The mind by default likes and dislikes. That is its nature. And the likes and dislikes causes ripples in the mind, and then we start thinking about it. And that thinking causes the attachment and detachment, and that attachment and detachment is causing the delusion, and the delusion is causing the suffering. So you see that one thought of liking creates millions of thought patterns. That disturbs my peace, freedom, and wisdom. You empty them, the peace is already there, the happiness is already there, the love is already there, the wisdom is already. Are you getting it? That is why this master says yoga is emptying the mind of its contents. Not all the contents. What are those contents? Take an example. I'm in peace with myself. That need not to be emptied. I'm happy because you follow me. Wrong content. Why? Because that will make me dependent. Do you see that? Do you live your life in your relationship? Internally, you are independent. You enjoy that freedom. And outside, you continue to live in your relationship. Where is the problem? Are you getting it? That is the meaning of this sutra, the first meaning of the first part of this sutra. So let us understand again and contemplate before we go for the practice. Yoga. There are four words in this sutra: yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. Yoga, we studied in the first sutra. What is that? Highest state of mindfulness, highest state of meditation, samadhi. What happens? I'm answering again to the same question Daniel asked me before the beginning of a session. Should I leave the practice, or when should we leave the practice? So you should leave the practice naturally. You are absorbed into meditation, and the knowledge reveals in your mind. Once that starts, that knowledge will continue to reveal in day to day life. That is what happened to that woman. I explained you. She has been with me for the last almost now it is 2.5 years. But commitment, her commitment brought her to that stage. So you see that as a teacher, we never say leave the practice. If you have taken pasta today, then I will not say you have been taking pasta for 10 years. Stop eating pasta tomorrow. Understand these logics the way the masters explain it. Why not to continue the journey to deepen the practice? Because that pure consciousness, that true nature is all pervading, it is infinite. So let me continue the journey. And you continue the journey, you make it a regular practice in your daily life. So your knowledge that is revealed in your mind will be deeper. That is what happened to this woman. Can you imagine? Mom died and a grief. We instantly remember. 2 years ago, she was too much attached to that her mom, taking care, doing her job, living alone. She is a single. Her children are living at different parts in nearby. Grief is also a thought. It is also known as vritti. The mind takes the shape of a grief and it hides that inner peace and happiness. That did not happen to her. She was able to maintain her calm. So it does not mean that you sit idly, you are sitting absorbed into meditation every day and everything will happen. No. Knowledge and the practice should go together. So we will understand the deeper meaning in the next lesson about this sutra. Again, I'm remember you have to contemplate and think of it. Yoga. Yoga. So according to Patanjali, it is the awakened state, the highest state of meditation, where the knowledge is revealed. So now knowledge is revealing, you don't need the practice, but still you practice. Then what happens? Your life undergoes a total transformation. Chitta. Chitta here means the mind. Vritti. Vritti, normally we say, if the thought are entering into my mind, that is what about the content of the mind. No, it is my behavior, it is my reaction, it is my response, it is my blame, complaint. Everything that is being expressed in thought, speech, and action are the content of the mind. So, not all the contents need to be thrown out. What is the natural content of the mind? That we will understand in the next talk. Natural content of the mind is peace, happiness, love, wisdom. Why it is so, how it is so. And that is Nirodha. So the master is saying, remove those contents that created the repulse in the mind caused by the likes and dislikes, created further content in the mind, that is blame, complaint, duality, conflict, anxiety, stress, suffering in your life. So ask the intellect to take over the mind, clear it, filter it, understand it, then practice it. You are there in that journey. I'm also older, so it becomes difficult for the older as we grow to remove those contents in the mind because we are stuck to it. 10 years ago, you insulted me. I still remember, but it is good for the younger. They take it easy. They take it easy. You see that? So let us start our journey. Close your eyes. We will do the practice, share our experiences, and then you have any question, we will take up that.